Hi, my name is Randy Bias. I am somewhat famous for being one of the early founding members of the OpenStack community. My company at the time, Cloud Scaling, was one of the 25 companies that supported the launch of OpenStack, and then we went on to go do some of the largest deployments of OpenStack, as well as to transform into a product company where we had two large customers who were doing fairly small proof of concept deployments of 25 racks each. One was a company called Walmart, small company. Another was a company called AT&T. So I've been there, done it, done a tremendous amount around OpenStack in terms of production deployments, both as a services company and then as a product company. And then even before OpenStack, I was sort of a general cloud blogger and pundit and kind of luminary thought leader, whatever you want to say. So I thought that I would take a moment to sort of talk about OpenStack and cloud and DevOps more generally, because I think sometimes people are getting a little confused. And here's what I think they get confused about. When you come into OpenStack, you're seeing something that looks and smells a little bit like VMware, and maybe it looks and smells a little bit like Amazon Web Services, and you're saying to yourself, what do I do with this thing? Well, there's a few different viewpoints. One viewpoint is that this thing is basically an open source or free replacement for VMware. Of course, we all know open source is not free. Another approach is thinking of it as sort of your on-premise Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud Platform deployment. And those are fine. Those are fine perspectives. But the thing that you have to realize first is that cloud computing and your journey to cloud has little or nothing to do with virtualization. And it has little or nothing to do with containers. Because as somebody who's trying to lead your business out of the wilderness, what you're trying to do is figure out how to make sure your application developers in the line of business can go as fast as possible. Now, whether that's adopting Amazon, whether that's building an on-prem solution, that largely doesn't matter, because the biggest hurdles have more to do with culture change. This is why so many enterprises turn to things like DevOps. They're trying to resolve that culture change problem. They're trying to figure out how do we move to not only an agile methodology for development, but an agile methodology for deploying and managing those applications, DevOps. And this is why something like OpenStack can be a foundational piece to what you're trying to accomplish. OpenStack without DevOps is like bacon without eggs. I mean, you've got to put these things together. If you're going to take your journey to cloud, the biggest thing you need to understand is that the true cloud pioneers, companies like Google and Amazon and Facebook and Twitter, they're not doing one thing at a time. They're not just buying commodity hardware and they're a cloud. Or they're not adopting DevOps and then they're a cloud. They're not using open source infrastructure tools and then they're a cloud. They're not moving to spine and leaf network architectures and then they're a cloud. They're not building next generation open air data centers and then they're a cloud. They're doing all of these things. So in order to do your journey to cloud, you have to do all of these things as well. You have to start with the culture change. You have to move to DevOps. You have to start understanding how cloud native applications work. You have to start learning how to use scale. You have to use public clouds. You have to use private clouds. You have to do all of these things together. Now, do you have to be completely like Google and Amazon? No, of course not. But to get the value, you could adopt 60, 70, 80% of the techniques that they're using to modernize their data centers, to modernize your own, and then you'll get in the vicinity of what they're trying to accomplish. So my final message to you is, don't try to cherry pick your way to cloud. You're going to have to go all in.